Omzi. What do you think? It's a great day for Oregonians. We wanted to have this event here at OMSI this morning because we feel strongly that this symbolizes the future. This symbolizes the 21st century, and we have a president and a vice president who are going to take us to that 21st century. It's been a great 4 years for President Clinton and Vice President Gore. We have the Family and Medical Leave Act, the Brady Bill and the assault weapons ban. And we have the crime bill with 400 more cops on Oregon streets to help keep us and our children safe. International trade is up, government regulations are down. Small business growth is up, interest rates are down. The minimum wage is up, and the deficit is down. But there's still a lot that we have to do. The President and the Vice President have been doing a lot on their own shoulders, making certain that the other side, the conservatives in Congress, don't take away our benefits, that they don't slash Medicare and abandon our commitments to seniors, that they don't gut the Clean Air and Clean Water Act, that they don't make taxpayers pick up the bill for pollution, and that they don't repeal the assault weapons ban and the Brady Bill. These elections that we have this fall are absolutely critical to the future of our country. It's about whether or not we're going to have a government that cares about all Americans or one that just gets out of the way and lets the strong survive. It's about whether or not we're going to have an educational system that provides schools for our kids for the future and leads us to the 21st century or not. It's about protecting our environment and handing our resources onto our kids. And it's about making certain that we have a country that tries to improve the quality of life of every single American in this country and not just a few. I'm very pleased this morning to have an opportunity to introduce to you a man who has fought for our environment, who has fought for our children, who has fought for our seniors, who has brought this country together, and who is going to play a key role in reinventing government and leading us into the 21st century, the Vice President of the United States, Al Gore.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that standing ovation. I appreciate it. Someone here just yelled out, do the Macarena. Thank you very much. I was with a group of Dominican Americans last week and I performed the merengue. I was with some Asian Americans at an event in San Francisco night before last, and I did my version of the Chinese long ribbon dance. I'm expanding my repertoire as I go along, but some people say they all look very similar. I don't know, but it really is a great honor for Tipper and me to join the President and First Lady to be here on behalf of Tom Bruggere, and let me acknowledge his wife, Kelly, who is here. Kelly, would you... Their two children are here, Maria and TC, and I want to acknowledge them. And incidentally, Maria Bruggere's second grade class from Beckman Elementary School in West Lynn is right up here. And we want to say hello to you. I want to also acknowledge two really outstanding candidates for the House of Representatives who are also here today, Darlene Hooley and Mike Dugan. Hold on just a second. We'll get Mike to come up here and stand with Darlene here so you can get a good look at both of them. Let's give them a round of applause here. Thank you. You're a great member of Congress from Portland, an individual who has such integrity and determination and competence. She is really fantastic. Congresswoman Elizabeth First. And also, and your great mayor, a tremendous mayor of Portland, Mayor Vera Katz. Let's give her a big hand also. Thank you, Mayor. And Multnomah County Commissioner Dan Saltzman, and there are others who ought to be singled out, and I apologize if I leave anyone out. Two individuals who are not here, I want to acknowledge them because of my deep respect for your governor, Governor John Kitzhaber, and your great United States Senator Ron Wyden, who did a great job electing. I want to say a few words about Tom Bruggere and then present the president. 2 days ago, no, I guess it's been 3 days ago now, I was in New York City giving a speech to a national award ceremony organized by Working Mothers magazine. Every year, this publication conducts an exhaustive survey of all the companies in the United States of America in order to determine and then reward and recognize the 100 best companies for supporting families, conducting their businesses in a way that respects their employees' connections to their family and to their community, and giving things like adequate maternity leave and flex time and the other kinds of benefits that make it possible for employees to do a great job at work, but also discharge their responsibilities to their children and spouses and to their larger families. And one of those that has consistently been recognized and was again given this national award was the company that Tom Bruggere started and led. And I want to thank you, Tom, for winning that award again this week. It really speaks well of you. He, of course, he established, founded, and led this, and he's moved on now and is asking for the opportunity to bring that kind of commitment and vision into public service. And I don't want to slight the ones that have taken over from your leadership in the company, but you know, Tom Bruggere is the person responsible for it. He started building a high-tech bridge to the 21st century. He and some friends founded Mentor Graphics and built it into a world-class company that is not only family-friendly and recognized nationally for its support of working mothers, it's provided high-wage jobs for thousands and yields annual revenues of nearly $500 million. but it has also become a great model for other companies. That award I mentioned has now been won by his company 4 years in a row. But it's only one example of the kind of commitment that he has brought to every aspect of his life. He insisted that the company build a wetlands on its grounds and be committed to protecting the environment and everything that it did. I appreciate that, Tom, also. Thank you. He's our kind of guy. He's the kind of guy Oregon needs in the United States Senate. When you look at Tom Bruggere's life story, you see all that is right with this nation. Bill Clinton said in his inaugural address 4 years ago, there's nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed by what is right with America. Well, Tom represents that vision of the future. He was the first person in his family to go to college. Then he used the GI Bill to get his master's degree in a field that back then a lot of people didn't think would amount to much. It was called computer science. Well, the rest is history now, but he has also taken this kind of vision and commitment to other parts of his life. He's done right by Oregon's public schools. He was the #1 visionary helping to bring together government and the private sector to create a wonderful new application of the information superhighway. It's called EdNet, and it links students of all ages to educational resources that they would not be able to get in any other way. Because of Tom Bruggere, Oregon is helping to make certain that young people will not be divided between the digital haves and the digital have-nots. He's bringing all of the children together to get access to the information they need. You know, the people that are chosen to represent citizens serve not only as spokespersons, and they not only vote in your behalf in the Senate, they also represent you in other ways. They serve as a symbol of what you're like, your ideas, what you want in the future. Mahatma Gandhi once wrote, "You must become the change you wish to see in the world." Tom Bruggere has done that. In his business life, in his private life, in his public service, in his commitment to the people around him, and his commitment to the community, he has become the change that he wants to see in the world. Now, you do have a contrast. Let me just say that Tom's opponent is also out of the business world. Now, bear with me here just for a minute. While Tom Bruggere was being honored 4 years in a row for setting a positive example of how to help families and protect the environment, how to build a bright future for the community, and showing how you can do that while also being successful in business and creating a lot of high-wage jobs, his opponent was included among the League of Conservation Voters' Dirty Dozen, a list of the candidates with the worst environmental records in the country. Now, that outlook on the part of his opponent was also reflected in the way his business was conducted. You know that story. But the question for you is, which of these individuals do you want the United States of America and the world to see as a symbol of Oregon's future, as a symbol of what Oregon wants to say about the change we desire in the world? A philosophy that cuts corners and damages the environment and puts people into two categories, those who have and those who have not, and does not extend a handout to those who need a hand up, or the kind of approach that Tom Bruggere has represented. He's the future. He represents Oregon. This is a critical election. The President and I spend a lot of time talking about the choice facing the whole country in the presidential race and the vice presidential race. But, you know, it's critical that we have the right kind of people in the House and Senate. And I want to thank all of you for putting forward such outstanding nominees, and particularly for putting Tom Bruggere forward. Now, let's elect Tom Bruggere to the United States Senate. Now, I just want to close my part of this with one question that I'd like you to reflect upon. And it goes beyond the issues and the position papers. I want you to think about how you would like to feel on the morning after the election, November the 6th, after the votes have been counted all through the night. You went to bed not knowing the outcome, and you wake up early in the morning after the election, and you've got two choices. You could wake up with a headache and look out and see the sky just dark with cold sleet rapping against the window, and you get out of bed and just can only get one eye open, and you stumble toward the front door and stub your toe on the way and open the door, and there's a newspaper lying in a little puddle of water, and it's the dark, the porch light is still on, you can't read the paper, so you peel back the front page, hold it up to the light, and it says, Dole and Smith win. There is another option. There's another option. You could wake up on the morning of November the 6th just feeling great. Sun shining through the window. Little birds chirping on the windowsill. The scent of fresh cut flowers on the table by the bed, mingling with the aroma of fresh brewed coffee wafting in from the kitchen, tickling your nostrils. You leap out of bed, your favorite tune on the radio, the Macarena, and you dance your way to the front door. You fling it open with a flourish. You pick up the newspaper and it says, Clinton, Gore, Bruggere win! Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton.
Thank you. 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 You know, when Al Gore and I started out together, he had a reputation of being too stiff. If anyone ever had told me 4 years ago that I would be counseling him about not being too rowdy, I never would have believed it. We're having a good time here. Hillary and Tipper and Al and I, we love Oregon. We love to come here. We love what you're doing and what you stand for. I want to say that I'm deeply honored to be here today with Tom and Kelly and Maria and TC and their friends, with our candidates for Congress, Darlene Hooley and Mike Dugan, with the mayor and Congresswoman First, with all of you. But I want to say to you that I do not view, in all candor, this election as primarily a struggle of parties. I think more than that, this election is primarily a definition of our country. Once in a great while, our country has gone through profound periods of change in how we work, how we live, how we relate to one another, how we relate to the rest of the world. Everybody who thinks about it knows that this is a period like that. There have been 4 or 5 such periods in our country's history. And you make these decisions, and when you make them, they dramatically impact 30 or 40 or 50 years and shape the country forever. And I want you to think about it like that. I do not want you to vote for any of these people because it would be nice if President Clinton had a Democratic Congress. It would be nice, but I don't want you to do that. Instead, I want to build on what the Vice President said. I want you to define what you want your country to look like when we start the 21st century. What you want your country to look like when these children are our age. And then make your decision based on that. Forget about the politics of it. Think about your country. I was listening to Al talk, and he did such a good job, I didn't have any idea what I was going to say. But I think what he was saying, and what I would like to say to you, is that there are just 2 polar opposite views competing for America's image of itself in this time of change. One is a unifying vision. The other is fundamentally a divisive vision. One says, we're all in this together. The other one says, you're on your own, the government's the problem. One says, let's build a bridge to the future. The other says, let's build a bridge to the past, when times were simpler and we didn't have to worry about all this. One says, we believe you can do well by doing good. The other says, do-gooders always mess up the private economy. And you have to think about which you believe. I believe that the example of Tom Bruggere's life and success and the results achieved by the policies of our administration in the last 4 years make an overwhelming case for the unifying vision of our future as opposed to the divisive vision of our future. Every time we try to do something to sort of spread opportunity and let the American people succeed at home and at work and give everybody a chance to live up to the fullest of their God-given potential, those who opposed us said it was big government and it would mess up a one-car parade, we would weaken the economy, it would be inefficient, it would be this, that, and the other thing. But 4 years later, yes, we passed family leave, and yes, we continue to protect the environment, but we have 10.5 million new jobs, and I might add that the job growth rate is faster than has occurred under any Republican administration in 70 years. So you can But this is not about party. The things we're debating today don't fit within the old party labels. The new competing philosophy abandons a lot of what the Republican Party adhered to for 25 years. But if you look at it, that's what's going on. They said, oh, if you don't let people continue to live on $4.25 an hour minimum wage, you'll just cost jobs. Well, October the 1st, we'll get a chance to test that out, because 10 million people are going to get a pay raise. And you know, but in the same bill, we proved that you could have a unifying vision. You know what else was in that minimum wage bill? We also, in the minimum wage bill, increased the tax deductions that businesses get when they invest more in their own business to grow the economy. We have improved, we have given more tax relief for self-employed people to get health insurance. It wasn't either or. The bill also had a $5,000 tax credit for people who will adopt children, because there's still a lot of kids out there that need homes. So it was pro-work, pro-business, and pro-family. It was a unifying vision. When Tom helped his workers be better parents, he increased the productivity of his company. He didn't weaken it. That is our argument. Our argument is that we have been forced into too many false choices for too long by people who were too short-sighted, and the nature of the new economy is such that we can do best by doing the right things. That there must not be a dichotomy between what people have to do in raising up their children and what they have to do in raising up their work lives. And if there is, we lose from the beginning. If you have to choose one or the other, we're beat from the start. We believe we can do both. We believe there must not be a dichotomy between preserving and indeed enhancing the environment and public health and growing the economy, because if that is true, then that ultimately would spell the doom of every civilization, and many have been doomed because of the refusal to develop a unifying vision that would permit people to grow the economy in ways that are in harmony with their natural surroundings. That's a fundamental choice you have to make. We believe that the First Lady's right, that it does take a village to raise children, to build an economy, to build a country. And therefore, unlike the other folks, we don't think it was a waste of money to give 50,000 young people like this young woman here a chance to work in AmeriCorps, to serve their communities, and earn some money to go to college while they were doing it. We think that's a good thing to do. They believe there's two kinds of money: the government's money and your money. And the government's money is money they stole from you, and the more they give back to you, the better off you are, because the government would mess up a one-car parade. We believe it's all your money. And the question is, are there things we can do together that we cannot do alone? And that is the question. We cannot by ourselves guarantee equal access to college education. We cannot by ourselves guarantee more equal opportunities for children in the schools. We cannot by ourselves guarantee what the Vice President and Tom have worked for, which is to make sure there's equal access to technology, including access to the information superhighway to all the children in all the schools of America. That's something we have to do together. Together. We cannot. Let me just give you three examples. Christopher Reeve talked about this at our convention. We cannot by ourselves fund the research necessary to push back the barriers that are destructive of human existence. Just in the last few weeks, for the first time in history, laboratory animals with severed spine have shown movement in their lower limbs because of nerve transplants. It never happened before. You cannot afford to get that done by yourself. Together, we can fund that kind of research. We have doubled the life expectancy of people with HIV and AIDS in 4 years because of the more rapid movement. You cannot afford to do that on your own. We just... We just entered a partnership, the United States did, with IBM. Even IBM did not want to do it on its own. We're going to build a supercomputer that will do more calculations in a second than you can do on your handheld calculator at home in 30,000 years. We have to do that together. But as we do these things, we change the whole nature of the future. The children in this audience will be doing jobs that have not been invented yet. Many will be doing work that has not been imagined yet because of what we do together as well as what we do on our own. So you have to decide that. You look around this room. Look at all this diversity in this room. Look how different we all are. Do you know how much of your time I spend as president trying to get people around the world not to do destructive things because they can't live with even a limited amount of diversity? Because they literally cannot exist because they have to have a divisive vision of themselves and their lives. They've got to be thinking they're important because they're not someone else. That's what the deal in Bosnia is all about. That's what Northern Ireland's about. That's what the Middle East is about. That's what the slaughter between the Hutus and the Tutsis in Burundi and Rwanda was all about. All over the world. That's what the church burnings are all about. When a synagogue is defaced or an Islamic center is burned, that's what it's all about. There's lots of folks that just can't get up in the morning and go through the day unless they've got somebody to look down on to make themselves feel bigger. A divisive view of the world. And now, I'm not being naive here. I don't pretend for a moment that there aren't tough decisions that have to be made, that there are lots of moments when there's no 100% perfect answer. But I'm telling you, where you go in life depends not only on all the details in dealing with the tough decisions, it depends on what your view is. How do you look at this? And that's why I tell you, if you look at how the world's changing, going from the Cold War to a global economy, if you look at the new security threats of the 21st century, terrorism, ethnic strife, the proliferation of dangerous weapons, organized crime and drug smuggling, they all cross national boundaries. We have to be unified in dealing with that. And I asked the Vice President to head that commission to figure out how we can make our airports and our airlines safer. We're dealing with a problem that every country has to deal with. So we have to work together on that. If you look at the way the economy's going, and the competition that we're in with people all around the world, we have to hold ourselves to international standards, and then we have to work together to make sure we all do it. If you think about all of us in this room, most of us would do well if there were no government efforts of any kind. We'd do okay, but we're doing a lot better because everybody else has a chance to make the most of their lives as well. And so I say to you, you're going to have 6 weeks and 4 days of television wars here in Oregon, and half of what's on there may be irrelevant. But this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. This is the last major election of the 20th century and the first election of the 21st century. Things have changed. We have to change. And America is going to go into that next century with either the unifying vision dominant or the divisive vision dominant. That's what I want you to think about, not Democrats or Republicans or any of that. I want you to think about your country. And if you look at the life and career and work of this man, it would be hard to think of someone who could be a better poster boy for a unifying vision of America's future in the 21st century than Tom Bruggere. Thank you very much. you.